Hello, this is Alessandro from alemontalto.com. In today's video, I would like to talk to you about the importance of stop looking for tips and tricks when it comes to remote work. Why do I want to talk to you about this topic? Because remote work is much more than just working at home. In order to successfully work remotely, you have to develop your own attitude, your own vision, your own point of view, your own mindset. Remote work comes with a very big challenge, being by yourself. I'm not talking about feeling lonely or being lonely, I'm just talking about being by yourself. It's normal. If you work remotely, you are usually working physically far from the rest of your team. Being by yourself is scary, it's very difficult, and I know that the first reaction would be to try to avoid it. And then being on the internet the whole day, checking social media, checking Slack channel and emails and other communication channels. But unfortunately, this doesn't work. Avoiding being by yourself, avoiding the uncomfortable feeling of being by yourself is not going to help you better dealing with it. It's not going to help you learning from it. What I can tell you is instead, start embracing being by yourself. But of course, this can sound like a tip, but it's not. Why? Because embracing being by yourself means a whole world per se. It's not just something that you can apply. It's not like baking a cake. There, I can understand, and there are some tips and tricks. It's something tangible, it's something material. It doesn't have anything to do with your inner world. But whenever we talk about mindset, attitude, if I tell you about being vulnerable, if I tell you about preparing an online meeting and being vulnerable in it, if I tell you about improving your communication skills, well, I'm not talking about anything tangible. There is nothing that you can really tweak. But what you can do is to understand where your attitude comes from by looking inside. Stop looking outside, stop looking for tips and tricks that can work, but in the very, very short term. In long run, they are not going to work. Why? Because if you don't work actively on developing your own strategy, you're not going to develop your own tools that will allow you to be flexible in whatever kind of situation you are going to face. Let me give you a little example just to clarify what I mean. Let's imagine for a moment that you want to build a house. There are like normal plans out there, and let's imagine for a moment that you choose to follow my plans, my tips and tricks. I can tell you, yeah, fine, you can start building the walls in this way, you can add a roof, a chimney, a door, a window, you can add whatever you want, but those are very fixed plans. They are my plans, they work for me, they reflect my idea of house. If you really want to build your house, let's imagine that you want to build a house with also a little veranda or porch here. I don't know whether this is really a good representation of a porch. If you also want to build some wooden benches, for instance, and you can really customize your house according to the representation, that idea of house that you have in your mind. Then you have to know what's behind laying bricks after bricks. It's not just a monkey job, like you take a certain amount of bricks and you lay down one after the other. There is much more to that you have to handle. Coming up with your own project, coming up with your own challenges and understanding where the challenges are and how to avoid them. And there is no tips and tricks. Whatever kind of tips and tricks come from the outside, you can adopt it. It can be very interesting just to have an idea of how you can face a certain situation, but they're not yours. It's not your strategy. In order to come up with your own strategy, you have to look inside, not outside. As another example, very, very simple. I can tell you, for instance, every day, every morning, start the day by a morning routine, okay? It can be like dressing up as you were going to the office. It can be doing some yoga, some breathing exercises, whatever. I can tell you a lot of options from which you can draw your own actions to do every morning and to include in your morning routine. Yeah, fine. That's totally fine. But what if you don't feel comfortable in the clothes that you wear in order to go to the office? What if you just feel comfortable with some training suit, for instance, with some jumpsuits, with a different sweater that you would never wear if you went to the office? Then it doesn't work for you. And the point is that if there is a clash, if there is a conflict between tips and tricks and the way you can't adapt to them, then your world, your remote world, is going to start falling apart. What I'm trying to suggest here is to stop for a moment looking for those tips and tricks and start thinking about what really works for you and what is really preventing you from building a great communication, from unplugging, from taking burnout at bay, from being an excellent teammate and team player. What is preventing you from talking openly to the rest of the team? What is preventing you from preparing any online meeting properly? I already talked about this in another video, and I can link the video to you so that you have a better idea of what I mean with that. I explain it in more details. The point here, to wrap this video up, is that by looking inside yourself, you are going to evolve. You are going to really develop your own mindset and attitude towards not only remote work. This is just one of the aspects of life. But when you learn how to look inside in order to evolve, you are going to apply that methodology, that strategy to your whole life, to every aspect of your life. So my encouragement for you is to stop, once again, looking for tips and tricks and to start looking inside yourself. And if you have any kind of difficulties, if you're struggling with that, don't worry, just drop me a message, leave a comment, and I will be very, very happy to get back to you as soon as possible.